Here we go again. And here is the fact, the truth. The deepest racism I have faced did not come from white men. It came from African Americans. Now, hear me out. Now, of course, I've seen microaggression from the white man, subtle hint of bias here and there, but that's expected, right? You will mentally expect that when you operate in predominantly white spaces. But explicit racism that I've experienced has come from African American, calling me primitive. I'm a white supremacist in a dark skin. I need to go back to eating fufu instead of contributing to these productive conversations, even though I'm educated. Oh, I can speak English. Or you have an accent, as if that loosens or takes away my intellectual capacity to engage productively, right? And all of this, in full display, has come from African Americans. A black man to another black man. Just think about it. Full racism, explicit racism in display, coming from someone, African Americans, some African Americans, who supposedly went through the same thing or are going through the same thing, right? So the irony is so glaring, okay? But no, we shouldn't speak about it, right? And for them to think you can bully an educated African who's hustled and earned his way, earned his right to live in this society, is mind-boggling. That is what I call living in delusional reality. For you to think you can silence Africans' voices or black immigrant voices, for you to think you can bully black immigrant or Africans into your false internalized narrative, for you to think you can co-opt them into your victimhood mentality, for you to think you can have them, so neck deep into oppression, right? That's mind-boggling. That is the classic textbook of living in a delusional reality. The Africans I know, the black immigrants who came to this country, went through a lot, including civil wars, and have found their place in this society, who are not only contributing meaningfully to this community, but creating power. And you think you can silence them? You think you can bully them? You think you can police their blackness? You think you can tell them what to speak on and what not to speak on? You think you can be racist towards them and think that would silence them? That would bully them? Again, you must be living in your delusional reality if you think that's happening. We are going to stand up. We are speaking up. There is no amount of hate, no amount of racism can silence our voices. We are part of this society. We're building here. Our futures is also here. We have children here. We are Americans. Calling us, we have to go back home. Or go back home. That's where you belong. Go back to your chiefdom. The irony and the level of being delusional, it's so mind-boggling. This is what I refer to as coming into the conversation being so emotional instead of being constructive and critical. When we're having uncomfortable conversations, it's time, a chance, an opportunity to face the truth. If you're so secure in your narrative, come fully confident to have a constructive dialogue. Defend your narrative with fact, evidence, with logic and reason. Explain it to the other person. When a culture refuses to engage, when a race or culture refuses to engage in a critical dialogue, to use reason, that culture is doomed to fail. Maybe perhaps that's why we're seeing the structure of Black community in America is going down. It's crumbling. The victimhood mentality is there.
You see why I will never vibe. See, why I will never vibe with African immigrants in America. When do black people start becoming racist? When do black Americans start becoming racist? But anyways, I will allow you guys to listen to everything you have to say and also get to listen to other black Americans. You know, this kind of people are the reasons why even if black Americans literally want to help African immigrants, by the time they see this kind of video, it's just a no-no for them. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, with that being said, let's go ahead and roll out the clip and I'll be back with commentaries. Disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes only, not to come here ruffle on anyone's shoulder or defame anyone, okay? Let's go continue. I'll be back.
The Black family structure is crumbling. Crime is it's at all high. Black neighborhoods are so full of destruction and chaos. Why is that? It's because of lack of critical dialogue, lack of critical thinking to face uncomfortable truth, challenge those narratives, take accountability, introspect. But when someone put forward this conversation, you're quick to attack the person. If it's a white man, oh, well, he's Uncle Tom talking there. If it's an African, a black immigrant, they're not here, they're primitive. Go back home. We're Americans. That's the beauty of this nation. We are Americans. And the beautiful thing about it, there's nothing you can do about it. We're all Americans. There are some who see my content, instead of critiquing it, which I welcome. Come criticize me. Bring facts. Bring constructive opinions. But when your first response is to attack my identity, when the first response is to be racist towards me, when your first response is to call me a white supremacist, when your first response is to attack my lineage, police my blackness, say I'm not black enough, I'm not black, period, that speaks more to your insecurity. It speaks more about your fragility. It speaks more about your fear inside you. Because you notice the accent. Oh, whoa, an African cannot speak on this. An African, why am I hearing an African speak on this? Right? I hear you. We live in America. It's a free country. We're protected by the First Amendment. Of course. All right? You have the right to scroll past. You don't want to hear it? Move on. But you feel the need to jump in and comment your hate, your division, to police my blackness, to be racist towards me. Why do you ask yourself, why do you feel the need to do so? I see a lot of you regulars from one video to the next, one content to the next, one conversation to the next. You're jumping to literally sow division. You're jumping to say, go back home. You're primitive. Stick to eating fufu. You're white supremacists. Why do you feel the need to do that if you're so uncomfortable with the content? If the content triggers you emotionally, why do you engage with it? It's because, and I'm going to tell you the truth, you're so insecure within. You cannot just say, yeah, I'm too uncomfortable. I will stay in my emotional bubble. Therefore, I'm just going to scroll this conversation. I don't want, but you're triggered. Or in deep inside you, you know what I'm saying is the truth.
African Americans are owed a huge apology, but that's not what I'm hearing. What we're witnessing is not an accident. It's the result of generations taking the African American community's fight for granted. If you study the Constitution and the laws of this country, it has always been painfully clear who this nation was built for and who it was never meant to include. The brief decades in which we were able to see ourselves reflected in power, protection, and possibilities were not gifts. They were won through struggle and relentless resistance by the African American community. But too many of y'all benefited from those gains without actually caring how they were achieved, because it wasn't your community being targeted. Our country betrayed the fight that made progress possible, dishonoring the sacrifice and achievement of African Americans. Now the consequences have reached other communities. We're asking what happened. What happened is that no one listened. What happened is that Black people were taken for granted. But what was not realized is that injustice spread. The news cycle has been so devastating. And what makes it sadder is that knowing that much of it could have been avoided. I am really hoping that we are all learning.
Why do y'all keep saying that? That is not true. I don't know why y'all keep saying that Africans come over here and become more successful than Black Americans. Where are y'all getting that from? I really think that y'all are just making this shit up. I literally have had Black American doctors. I have a Black American therapist. I've had Black American lawyers. I know Black American engineers. I know a ton of Black American business owners. I know some African ones too. I know a lot of African doctors. But I also know a lot of Africans who come over here and drive Uber Eats and DoorDash and things that are really not that prestigious. So I really feel like this blanketed statement that y'all keep making about Africans being more successful than Black Americans in America is very skewed. It's very misinformed. And I don't know why y'all keep saying that, because it's just not true. I really don't even know why y'all chose us to try to compete with. Like, you always want to compare yourself to us, but it's weird because you never compare your successful people to our successful people. You always compare your successful people to our unsuccessful people. It's just never apples to apples with y'all. And I'm not taking away from your success. Do you, boo-boo? But all I'm saying is don't make comparisons that don't make sense. It is not the amount of African immigrants that come over here are the numbers don't add up to the amount of Black Americans that live on this soil. So please save me with this bullshit about Africans coming over here and doing better and being more successful than Black Americans, because this shit is just not true.
Anyways, welcome back, and I hope you guys have seen all of that clip that I've been able to roll out for you guys, where he literally was thinking he was actually making his point, and he made a particular comment, and he said that African immigrants that comes to US, or immigrants that come to US, pave their way to be there. They pave. That's what they pave. They work their way hard to be there. So I don't know where the working or paving their way is actually included, because the last time I checked, every single person that has paved way for you, built America, for you to be in America today, are all in the effort of Black Americans. The last time I checked. So where you paved way is where I literally do not understand. The fact that you left your country to another man's country to go and look for greener pasture is not actually you paving way. You were going to hustle. You were going to make more money and come back to your country, because you knew fully well that anything you go to American to go make and then come back to your home country, which with the way he's talking, I already know he's actually Nigeria, you are definitely going to be getting more value in every single part of your life. So you never paved way, sir. You went there to hustle. You went there not to just sit down. You went there not to just go look at pictures and beaches. You went there to make money. And that is exactly what you need to do when you want to make money. You have to hustle. You have to work hard. In fact, if you are even working 2 hours in your own personal country, in your own home country, if you go to another man's land, you have to do 8 hours, or you have to even do more, just because you know what you came there for. Let's get it straight. Black Americans paved way for every single immigrant today that are in America. Black Americans built America, and you can go check out your American history, despite the fact that a lot of them were reclassified, despite the fact that a lot of things were erased, despite the fact that a lot of things were suppressed, despite the fact that a lot of things were denied from them. They actually built America. They paved way for you as an African immigrant. And the fact that you all target that Black Americans are lazy is where I literally do not get from. Because if you listen from the last clip that I actually roll out, we have Black doctors, we have Black nurses, we have Black teachers, we have, but I don't know, probably the places you people are staying are the places where you just see just white people. I don't know. And then at the end of the day, you people will literally leave your country to another man's country to go and start tagging them lazy. They don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that, they don't want to work hard, blah blah blah. The last time I checked, 70% of white folks are on welfare. If you are not aware, go check out people crying more on welfare, EBT, stamp, east, west, north, and south. Now let's go back to that part where he literally said that Black Americans, he has experienced more racism from Black Americans than white people. Black Americans cannot be racist. In fact, Black people cannot be racist. They can only be prejudiced, but they can never be racist. How can you explain to me clearly that this thing that this person actually did to you is actually a racist? I don't get when you're saying racist. What privilege do Black Americans have for them to be racist to you? Even a lot of white folks have literally come to confirm this on different platforms that Black Americans cannot be racist. So hearing it from an African immigrant that literally left his own home country to go hustle is kind of surprising to me that Black Americans are racist to him, that he has never experienced racism, that the only thing he know when it comes to these white people is microaggression. Microaggression in what sense? Okay, so they reacted to you, you tag it as microaggression. Black Americans reacted probably to what you did they don't like, and you tag it as them being racist. How is that even aligning? Black Americans cannot be racist, please, sir. If you're watching this video, just know that they cannot be racist. Just check it and see. Black people can only be prejudiced, but not racist. There is a difference. You can check the definition of when someone is actually a racist. So that particular one you call microaggression, especially if you live in a predominantly white environment, is what is automatically tagged as racist, but you do not literally know. So I hope you know that as well. It's just a whole lot to deal with immigrants, and this is why even if Black Americans are not vibing with them, Black Americans do not want to support them, Black Americans do not want to anything that will actually concern them. I truly understand, because let it make sense to me that anybody can just wake up in the morning just to attack Black Americans, or just to throw words, just to throw shades to Black Americans. And for the fact that I have a Black American mom and dad, I cannot just sit, fold my hands, and watch you guys just say trash about Black Americans. Well, I know how these people are in and out. Yes, and I'm not saying that, yeah, there are not some people in that are Black Americans that are not white, but in all of that, understand their pains, understand their struggles, understand what they've literally been through. So comparing yourself, sir, with Black Americans, I'm even saying that one as well as a no-no. You do not compare yourself with Black Americans. You're not Black Americans. You did not pass through the same pains, because you made a comment where you said you passed through the same pains and people are supposed to understand it. You did not pass through. They passed through what is worse than what you think you passed through or what you think you went through. I didn't even think your generation went through anything. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section, and credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I really do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I'd like to save my videos. I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Disclaimer, this is just for educational purpose, and credits to the original creators of every single clips and stitches I have in today's episode. I love you guys. Mwah.